Africa is the world's second largest and second most populous continent after Asia. At about 30.3 million square kilometers, 11.7 million square miles, including adjacent islands, it covers 20% of Earth's land area and 6% of its total surface area. With 1.4 billion people as of 2021, it accounts for about 18% of the world's human population. Africa's population is the youngest amongst all the continents. The median age in 2012 was 19.7, when the worldwide median age was 30.4. Despite a wide range of natural resources, Africa is the least wealthy continent per capita and second least wealthy by total wealth, ahead of Oceania. Scholars have attributed this to different factors including geography, climate, tribalism, colonialism, the Cold War, neocolonialism, lack of democracy, and corruption. Despite this low concentration of wealth, recent economic expansion and the large and young population make Africa an important economic market in the broader global context. The continent is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Isthmus of Suez and the Red Sea to the northeast, the Indian Ocean to the southeast and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. The continent includes Madagascar and various archipelagos. It contains 54 fully recognized sovereign states, 8 cities and islands that are part of non-African states, and 2 de facto independent states with limited or no recognition. This count does not include Malta and Sicily, which are geologically part of the African continent. Algeria is Africa's largest country by area, and Nigeria is its largest by population. African nations cooperate through the establishment of the African Union, which is headquartered in Addis Ababa. Africa straddles the equator and the prime meridian. It is the only continent to stretch from the northern temperate to the southern temperate zones. The majority of the continent and its countries are in the northern hemisphere, with a substantial portion and a number of countries in the southern hemisphere. Most of the continent lies in the tropics, except for a large part of Western Sahara, Algeria, Libya and Egypt, the northern tip of Mauritania, and the entire territories of Morocco, Ceuta, Melilla, and Tunisia, which in turn are located above the Tropic of Cancer, in the northern temperate zone. In the other extreme of the continent, southern Namibia, southern Botswana, great parts of South Africa, the entire territories of Lesotho and Eswatini, and the southern tips of Mozambique and Madagascar are located below the Tropic of Capricorn, in the southern temperate zone. Africa is highly biodiverse. It is the continent with the largest number of megafauna species, as it was least affected by the extinction of the Pleistocene megafauna. However, Africa also is heavily affected by a wide range of environmental issues, including desertification, deforestation, water scarcity, and pollution. These entrenched environmental concerns are expected to worsen as climate change impacts Africa. The UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has identified Africa as the continent most vulnerable to climate change. The history of Africa is long, complex, and has often been underappreciated by the global historical community. Africa, particularly Eastern Africa, is widely accepted as the place of origin of humans and the hominidae clade, great apes. The earliest hominids and their ancestors have been dated to around 7 million years ago, including Sahelanthropus cadensis, Australopithecus africanus, A. afarensis, Homo erectus, H. habilis and H. ergaster. The earliest Homo sapiens, modern human, remains found in Ethiopia, South Africa, and Morocco, date to circa 233,000, 259,000, and 300,000 years ago, respectively, and Homo sapiens is believed to have originated in Africa around 350,000 to 260,000 years ago. Africa is also considered by anthropologists to be the most genetically diverse continent as a result of being the longest inhabited. Early human civilizations, such as ancient Egypt and Carthage, emerged in North Africa. Following a subsequent long and complex history of civilizations, migration, and trade, Africa hosts a large diversity of ethnicities, cultures, and languages. The last 400 years have witnessed an increasing European influence on the continent. Starting in the 16th century, this was driven by trade, including the transatlantic slave trade, which created large African diaspora populations in the Americas. From the late 19th century to the early 20th century, European nations colonized almost all of Africa, reaching a point when only Ethiopia and Liberia were independent polities. Most present states in Africa emerged from a process of decolonization following World War II. Afri was a Latin name used to refer to the inhabitants of then-known northern Africa to the west of the Nile River, and in its widest sense referred to all lands south of the Mediterranean, ancient Libya. This name seems to have originally referred to a native Libyan tribe, an ancestor of modern Berbers. See Terence for discussion. The name had usually been connected with the Phoenician word afar, meaning dust, but a 1981 hypothesis has asserted that it stems from the Berber word ifri, plural ifrin, meaning cave, in reference to cave dwellers. The same word may be found in the name of the Banu Ifrin from Algeria and Tripolitania, a Berber tribe originally from Yafrin, also known as Ifrain, in northwestern Libya, as well as the city of Ifrain in Morocco. Under Roman rule, Carthage became the capital of the province it then named Africa Proconsularis, following its defeat of the Carthaginians in the Third Punic War in 146 BC, which also included the coastal part of modern Libya. The Latin suffix "ica" can sometimes be used to denote a land, e.g., in Celtica from Celti, as used by Julius Caesar. The later Muslim region of Africa, following its conquest of the Byzantine, Eastern Roman, Empire's Exarchatus Africae, also preserved the form of the name. According to the Romans, Africa lies to the west of Egypt, while Asia was used to refer to Anatolia and lands to the east. A definite line was drawn between the two continents by the geographer Ptolemy, 85 to 165 CE, indicating Alexandria along the prime meridian and making the Isthmus of Suez and the Red Sea the boundary between Asia and Africa. As Europeans came to understand the real extent of the continent, the idea of Africa expanded with their knowledge. Other etymological hypotheses have been postulated for the ancient name Africa. The 1st century Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, at 1.15, asserted that it was named for Epher, grandson of Abraham, according to Genesis 25 verse 4, whose descendants, he claimed, had invaded Libya. Isidore of Seville in his 7th century Etymology 14.5.2 suggests Africa comes from the Latin Africa, meaning sunny, Nasi, in 1881, stated that Africa is derived from the Egyptian Afroika, meaning to turn toward the opening of the ka. The ka is the energetic double of every person, and the opening of the ka refers to a womb or birthplace. Africa would be, for the Egyptians, the birthplace. Michel Froude in 1976 proposed to linking the Latin word with Africa's south wind, which would be of Umbrian origin and mean originally rainy wind. Robert R. Stieglitz of Rutgers University in 1984 proposed the name Africa, derived from the Latin asterisk A for Ica, is cognate to Hebrew Ophir, rich. Ibn Khaldun and some other historians claim that the name of Africa came from a Himyarite king called African Ibn Qais Ibn Saifi, also called Africa's son of Abraham, who subdued Africa, Arabic Africa, feminine noun, and Africa, now usually pronounced Africa, feminine, Africa, from Afra, to be dusty, from Hafar, dust, powder, and Hafar, dried up by the sun, withered, and Afara, to dry in the sun on hot sand, or to sprinkle with dust, possibly Phoenician for Raqqa in the sense of colony. Separation. Africa is considered by most paleoanthropologists to be the oldest inhabited territory on Earth, with the human species originating from the continent. During the mid-20th century, anthropologists discovered many fossils and evidence of human occupation perhaps as early as 7 million years ago, before present, BP. Fossil remains of several species of early ape-like humans thought to have evolved into modern humans, such as Australopithecus afarensis, radiometrically dated to approximately 3.9 to 3.0 million years BP, Paranthropus guazé, c. 2.3 to 1.4 million years BP, and Homo ergaster, c. 1.9,600,000 years BP, have been discovered, after the evolution of Homo sapiens approximately 350,000 to 260,000 years BP in Africa. The continent was mainly populated by groups of hunter-gatherers. These first modern humans left Africa and populated the rest of the globe during the Out of Africa II migration dated to approximately 50,000 years BP, exiting the continent either across Bab el-Mandeb over the Red Sea, the Strait of Gibraltar in Morocco, or the Isthmus of Suez in Egypt. Other migrations of modern humans within the African continent have been dated to that time, with evidence of early human settlement found in southern Africa, Southeast Africa, North Africa, and the Sahara. The size of the Sahara has historically been extremely variable, with its area rapidly fluctuating and at times disappearing depending on global climatic conditions. At the end of the Ice Ages, estimated to have been around 10,500 BCE, the Sahara had again become a green fertile valley, and its African populations returned from the interior and coastal highlands in sub-Saharan Africa, with rock art paintings depicting a fertile Sahara and large populations discovered in Tasselai Eniger dating back perhaps 10 millennia. However, the warming and drying climate meant that by 5000 BC, the Sahara region was becoming increasingly dry and hostile.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a strive. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah. Savannah. Light is gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah.